Ray Shaw pops in, racist, and then Nick leaves.
I'm just gonna you've kind of been paying attention to, right? So it's more of a newsworthy thing. There really nothing happened on the show that I don't think needs to be brought up. Yeah or no?
Was what now?
So there's really, I mean, mostly it's newsworthy shit.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
But like what happened on the show, unless you can think of something really stood out to me this week. Not
In terms
that
of
it was
WWE,
bad, but
WWE, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple things we'll talk about.
But the NXT, Dynamite, they're doing their,
Nope, I'm not.
They're doing their paper. I'm gonna shit on it.
I don't care about them. I just want to
talk about it, and I'm gonna explain why. Why I don't like doing reviews of WWE.
I'm just doing. I just want.
Interest that I want to fucking talk about, unless they need to do something.
Yeah, I just want to do Raw. Personally, I'm just Raw and SmackDown only for me personally. I don't.
I mean, I'll go over little bits of things like the Ilya Dragunov Trick Williams matches happening. It's kind of important because that has to do with Raw and SmackDown.
Sounds good. Well, you lead the way, Mole Frere.
On those, but
By the way, we could be heard on the stream. By the way.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. How's it going? We're gonna talk some wrestling. I'm sure there's some other things. I really haven't paid too much attention. Nothing really sports newsworthy has happened for me. So it's mostly gonna be wrestling talk. And I'm not going to review every fucking match that happens. If there's something of importance, we'll hit on it. Like, if it has to do with what's actually going on, we'll try to keep it more newsworthy. There's more news with wrestling than there is actual... Now, that's not to say the show hasn't been good. It's just there's nothing this week that stood out to me at all as far as wrestling goes. Wrestling, we'll talk some things, but I'm not gonna review every match because I'm sure these guys don't want to listen to me talk about fucking wrestling.
Starting with match number one.
But if you guys put something in the chat and you want me to want us to talk about something, I'm okay with it. That's what I do over on the football channel, which I'm thinking about bringing over to here because I think it'll add another show.
Add another layer to the channel.
And we'll get those primetime viewers, if that makes sense. You guys are welcome to join if you want at any time, and listen and whatnot. If you want to join the show, you can. I'm talking to everybody that's on this channel with us. I think it'll be good to have on here because it's sports related, and I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So there's that. So really, I want to talk about, and I more want to talk about, and this is where I want the show to really go as far as, and we'll go over like what I'm watching, but again, keep in mind, everybody, this is opinion based. This isn't fact, and I say this all the time. This isn't fact. This is just what we think. Whenever I say something is what I would do, and I'm trying to get the understanding of what they're doing and trying to piece things together. I'm not trying to fantasy book or anything. In a sense, I am, but I'm not losing sleep over it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not up tweeting 24 hours a fucking day crying that fucking Roman Reigns lost the fucking title at WrestleMania. Yes, there are still people crying about that. These are the fucking people that make no sense with wrestling. They are ruining what wrestling does. They're like, oh, well, now the title means nothing. The fuck are you talking about? If anything, and Connor, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if anything, it made that title more valid. Roman was getting bigger than the title. It had to come off of him because his storyline has become bigger than what the title needs. That doesn't mean that the title isn't the main thing that people should be fighting over, but that storyline has outgrown the title. Let it go. It's okay. Who's not to say Roman won't get the fucking thing back? Because I remember back in the 80s, they put the title on fucking the next big thing, and the next thing you know, it's right back on Ric Flair because he made the title what it was. Ric Flair and Roman Reigns are two of the very few people that if you put a title on them, it means something. Tell me if I'm wrong in that assessment. And it's okay, and then we can discuss it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be right, but it's like I just so I like opinion-based things. So when I'm sitting here and talking wrestling with Heather and Basement and Connor and Trek when he's not,
Sleeping.
He's just in a plane like I am right now. What's up?
Right?
Yep.
And Ray Sean, I more look to see where
I am more look to.
No, what I'm trying to say is I'm more like to. What I mean by that is I like to find out what everybody's headspace and timing is when it comes to wrestling. What you would do, and that just involves conversation. It's just, and then we can debate. We can debate it. No, that's how I view when I talk wrestling.
No, I just laugh at like.
I'm trying to explain how I am with wrestling. This is everybody.
You're passionate.
I do this with.
Well, no, you're a passionate and opinionated fan, and it's and this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do season 3 of HGG. Man, that plane is really intense. Why I wanted to do HGGM season 3 mode the way we or HGGM mode season 3 the way, which is really fun because, and that's why I even said like part of me wants me and Basement to be on separate teams just because we are so similar alike. But like I also knew that me and Basement were probably going to fight over Heather because that meant that Heather was going to have the most kick-ass women's division. So it's like, each one of us brings something different to the table. And that's what I was saying about like the last season, but no, I'm the same way with my own, with my own wrestling opinions because, not that I ever, told anybody about it for fucking 10 years. I don't know how you people put up with me.
It's easy. It's really easy for me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say was just when it comes to anything, because I think of my ADHD, but obviously this ties in with the passionate, my passion for pro wrestling. When I get interested in something, I don't go light. I go down that fucking rabbit hole really far down and really like as far deep as I can go. Cough, cough, Marvel Roundtable, cough, cough. So, so with wrestling, it worked out for me very well because in terms of timing, when I started to get on board, that's right when WWE was really taking advantage of their video library and coming out with like a shit ton of like some really fucking good and decent quality documentaries that really like pulled back the curtain. I learned more from those documentaries in such a short amount of time. And I had a very stupid collection of DVDs and VHSs that I had of like the documentaries, the match types, all that fun jibber jabber, and that's how I learned. And so it's funny to like go back and like look at the way that the business is evolving and blah 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 and all that stuff. But the point is that I can see different. The beauty of pro wrestling is that it's such a vast varieties of styles, types, stories, and interactions that it can really appeal to a pretty broad audience of different things where you can still enjoy pro wrestling and still enjoy different variations or versions of it. And it's unlike anything else in this world, baby, if you will.
Wrestling is. I think I said this last night. I think Triple H has created a hybrid of the golden age of wrestling and the ruthless aggression era, and combined them into what it is today.
Which is what it's been sorely missing, in my honest opinion.
What I mean by that is you're going to always see the carnival-y shit in wrestling, because they call them carnies because a lot of wrestling took place at carnivals back in when wrestling first started. If you go back and watch the history of wrestling on the history of the World Heavyweight Championship, it tells you exactly. They wrestled in carnivals, and they very rarely wrestled. When they did, their matches, there was one match on there that lasted, what's the longest, like 2 hours and 20 minutes is the longest heavyweight championship match ever.
Yeah, something like that. By the way, just want to give some love real quick to the chat. We got Alpha and Jurgen in the chat. What's up, guys? And appreciate the love in there, Jurgen. Much appreciated. But you know what I find also very fascinating about, especially now with WWE, and this might be my this might be my edible arrangements talking. So bear with me if this is because this is going to sound very like hippy dippish, like what if, man? But hear me out. Pro wrestling influenced MMA and became and MMA grew into what it was and developed into what it was or what it is now based off of the influence of 1980s and early 1990s pro wrestling, right?
Yes.
You'll hear me out. It gets better because it comes back full circle.
Yes.
To which it becomes such a mainstream business Mongol, like this big, like this big, massive, juggernaut as far as like a form of like combat sports entertainment. Mm-hmm. That WWE ends up essentially merging with them in a sense under the same corporate umbrella and copying a lot of the same business model and structure as far as how they present themselves. So they fucking influenced each other and they're fucking taking over and cornering the market on like a massive fucking scale.
What I really love right now, and we'll get into the news of the day, what I really love about wrestling and what Triple H is doing, every match has a big fight feel to it.
Yeah.
Like even the mid cards.
Every match has some sort of significance to it.
He does. It doesn't matter who it is. He is doing little. I mean, he's not spending hours upon hours. He has the production team for it. Do vignettes with your fucking superstars.
Yeah.
Get them out there. That is what Triple H is doing. He doesn't spend, put him in a fucking gimmick that's how you're going to get that motherfucker over. No, that's not how you're going to get that motherfucker over in today's world. People want to know who they're supporting or who they're booing. So what they've been doing is like when they have a match, and it might be of some little significance to it, or they're trying to build it to it, that they do little vignettes with their superstars.
Yeah.
And I like it.
There's a lot that has changed in terms of the landscape and the business in general. And it's not just in terms of what you see on camera. And this is why I think, a lot of people are like, I know that a lot of people are like blowing smoke up WWE's ass. It's like, oh man, the product is just absolutely immeasurable. But hear me out. There have been multiple major changes within the company. We're not just talking in terms of Triple H being the chief content creator or the main booker. We're also talking about the fact that Vince is being completely removed from the company in any way, shape, or form. We also look at the fact that they now have a backer, a corporate backer now, which means that now they have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what they're able to get away with in some regards as far as creative and other things. They're able to push the envelope a little bit. Their numbers are insane as far as what they're doing business wise. Like all the wrestling's getting hot again. They have some of the best writing and creative stuff as far as the bloodline and everything like that. So they're checking so many boxes and so many things are going right. Hell, Kevin Dunn's gone. Now you have a brand new production style where you're seeing some fucking absurd and crazy camera angles, the likes of which we've never seen on a major scale like this in WWE or any of the other major promotions, and it's so much fun. It's literally like a complete reset in a lot of different ways. And so I can't remember where the hell I was going with this on this point.
You're good.
I just trailed off.
No,
But no,
right.
everything is really, really good right now.
Yes.
And it's easy to blow smoke up WWE's ass because it's not just one thing that's changed and gone for the good. It's a lot of them.
I think WWE, I mean, sure, they have their flaws. All wrestling has their flaws. And I'll get into AEW and I'll get into WWE. There's some things that they do that just don't make sense. But it is what it is. You're going to have that. I've grown to accept that. That's why I've been following the product. They're going to have peaks and valleys. They hit their valley here. They're starting to climb a peak. That's not to say AEW isn't going to do the same, but there's some shit that's got to fucking change.
What I was going to say? Oh, so now I remember my original point. Thank you, Weed. So the original point was that there's more than just one change. It's not just the creative. It's a change of a visualization, a visual concept. The corporate structure has changed. Like so many things have gone positive that it's great to see this this natural progression of things going in the right direction. And nope, I lost it again. Motherfucker.
You were talking about the transitions and shit, right?
Yes, it not just being Vince and all of that being gone. It's
you're talking about all the corporate and all that shit. Yeah, I get it. I know where you're going, and I 100% agree with you. That you're good. All right, you ready?
Let's do this.
I'm just gonna put something up there. Here, watch this. I'm gonna do this.
So there's really a couple only of things I want. Or if we're starting things off with Raw,
There you go.
and Neos, I didn't watch Dynasty. I've been Twitter following, but that's about it. I haven't really been paying attention. I've seen some things here and there. What the hell is this? He's putting up the WrestleMania logo.
Nope, you'll see in a second.
Star Wars logo. Okay.
I'm going to give us a spot quick, but go ahead and finish your thought.
Okay. If we're starting things off with Raw, really the only big things that I was going to say was, as far as the main things I took away from it was, let's see, new tag titles.
Yeah. So they revealed the new tag team titles. Well, on Raw, I again like them. I like the color in them. It does give that distinction of what brand it belongs to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind that. I'm not saying you have to color this yellow and this orange and this blue and this pink. Just red to let us know that, hey, these titles are on Raw. Like it. I like the round. It makes the title look bigger, which it should have a big... No matter what the fucking title is, it should have a big
impact. Yeah,
it should be bigger. I've just always felt that way. Go ahead.
I will say that I got to give JP some credit here. Me and Raysham, we were doing our first GM get together was right after they revealed the World Tag Titles, and at first glance, it's very easy to see the comparison between them and the essentially the World Heavyweight Championship counterpart that Damian Priest currently has. However, when you look at them legitimately side by side, they actually do have a lot more distinction between them. But I do like the fact that there's enough it's enough like influence on the tag titles that you can obviously make the synonymousness with the world heavyweight. Like you kind of, pair it together. Now, interestingly enough, if you really wanted to go a little cuckoo crazy with this, these belts are the ones that have the lineage of the WWE champion tag team titles, like all the way dating back.
Yeah.
Want to get super fucking technical about it, but
so if you and I will say this, if you look at the women's world championship, if you look at the world heavyweight championship that's on Raw, the one Damian Priest has,
yes,
it looks like a cross between the big gold belt,
yep,
and the original WWE title.
Correct.
So everybody's like, I don't understand why they keep doing this. Number one, the big logo in the middle is never going to go away.
No.
Yeah, it's corporate branding at this point.
It's branding, and it happened. Well, it distincts who's the champion. I don't mind it. I don't know why people don't like it. I don't get it. I don't know why they complain about it. I think they're dumb for complaining about it. I think it adds validity to the title. You're getting your name out there. And when people see that, oh my God, that's the world champion. That's why I think they do that. I need that belt. I watched that show. It's actually pretty cool. That's how wrestling got its word out in the Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the perfect igniter for what happened in wrestling 20 years ago. I mean, 25 years ago, 26 years ago. No, really, I'm being serious. I'm saying 25, 26 years ago, because that's when the Attitude Era started. So I absolutely love the way they look.
Yeah,
it's a callback, and titles should never. So I'm not going to say titles shouldn't change. There should always keep something that of the original. Of how they got started, because that's where the lineage comes in.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is that obviously we get a lot more of that with the other tag team titles, but we'll get to those ones a little bit later on with SmackDown. But the world tag team title ones, I'm a big fan of. It's got enough distinction, enough uniqueness, but its own ties into other championships of the past. It's a win across the board for me as far as the design. I love the segment with R-Truth calling Triple H, aka Tommaso Ciampa, a magician. Again, wonderful segment by R-Truth. And I'll be honest with you, as far as the design of the belts, I will say this though too: it is not my favorite design of the tag team titles, generally speaking, like of all time. However, I will say it is a marked improvement over the Raw tag team titles, and I am very glad they quickly got rid of the idea of titles named after the damn show, Raw and SmackDown. I thought I hated that from the get-go. I hated that with the women's title. I hated that with the tag title. So I'm glad that they're doing this the right way. And going back to what you were saying, JP, about the Ruthless Aggression era, structurally, as far as the way the business is run right now, it seems like they're going back to that business model, which, hey, I'm all for it, because that was my favorite era, and it produced some fucking incredible stars and talents, and it's going to create some great matchups. So I'm on board. Right. But as far as what else happened on Raw, the only other big thing there's two other big things that happened on Raw. Unfortunately, while we got new world tag team titles, another title was also vacated at the same time.
Yes, the women's champion, Rhea Ripley, had to step down because of a shoulder strain.
Yeah, so there's another thing. People are like, oh, then they never had to relinquish their title.
Edge had to relinquish and then retire.
Right. And everybody was yelling, somebody had posted, Rhea had to relinquish her title, and then I don't know why Roman and Seth.
Batista's done it. Daniel Bryan's done it. Right. Edge has done it. There's been a bunch of times.
They let Seth go with the knee injury. This is where this is all stemming from. They let Seth go with the meniscus tear, right?
Yeah.
Which I've had that, and you can let it go for only so long before you have to go in there and clean it out, or else you'll start getting an infection in your knee. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's an assumption. Seth Rollins, there was no way that a doctor would approve. I think they did the same thing with Cody when he tore his pectoral muscle. Yeah. They asked, is it gonna? Well, Cody asked,
like, almost like a gentleman's agreement where it's like
more damage to it.
Yeah, no. It's essentially almost like something what's referred to as like a gentleman's agreement, where it's like we're gonna go in there and we're gonna tear it up, and we're with a one understanding of like doing X or like taking into consideration like hey. Pain levels or whatever have you, and just understanding where everything is, as far as that stuff goes. I do agree. I think it was almost the same agreement like that Cody and Seth had with his torn pec.
Right. So people crying. Well, this injury is actually going to be longer than what Seth was. It's going to be 2 months, almost 2 months for it to heal. And then she can't just jump right back in the ring. She has to rehab it, build the strength back up in it because of the kind of wrestler that she is. Mm-hmm. She's a powerhouse. She can't do all that shit with... There's no way. She just sprained her AC joint. She does any further damage, she's going to be out for a year to a year and a half. People have got to realize that just because she's 27, Seth was going away anyway. And this is that perfect time for him. He's going to be gone for like several fucking months. But this is the kind of guy, and I understand Rhea Ripley wanting, people are upset that she had to relinquish the title. But thank God, now they can get her the fuck away from Judgment Day.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot more positives to this, I think, than people realize.
Her going away, you'll miss her, and you'll want her back, and that pop when she comes back will be even bigger. But I'm waiting for her to turn on Dominic Mysterio. That's what I'm waiting for.
Or Dom turns on her.
No,
it'd be better if she turned on him.
The other way around.
Well, in any case, I think like timing wise, it was almost perfect because she just came off of a massive win over Becky, and it's not like she was going into a long-term program or anything like that as far as creative goes. Right. The other thing I just want to say this, and this is also to piggyback off of something they're doing right now, which is I love that if someone's injured, they're making something out of it, like they did with Punk and Drew.
You can't. So look, for all we, and I'm sorry, Connor. For all we know.
Good.
It may be a work. She may not be injured at all.
No, she isn't.
No, but I'm just saying, hear me out. They may be doing they've done it before. They just took her off of TV and they built it into the storyline that she's going to get Liv. Let's keep in mind that Liv hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
Or no.
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
Rhea hurt Liv. Liv was out for 8 months because of Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
So
I see
Rhea Ripley got hurt at WrestleMania. I don't think and if Liv Morgan did do it, she didn't do it on fucking purpose.
No. Yeah, I know that as much,
People
but
have got to realize, and it builds a storyline. It builds a better storyline. Go ahead.
That's what my point was just going to be. Was that sorry? Good. Jeez, this plane.
Go ahead. You're back. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I thought Heather was going to go. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Let her get her thoughts in. Go ahead. If you can.
Go ahead to who? You keep saying just go ahead.
You.
Okay, got it. All right, sorry. I'm just reiterating the point of the fact that like beforehand, like sometimes injuries happen and they don't really do anything with it, or rather, set something up, and they have to like remind the audience, like, oh yeah, don't you forget I was the one that injured you. It's like, well, it's been fucking 6 months. Like, either the guy has like something's changed, or it's not relevant anymore. They don't take advantage of it. It's beautiful because it's just like the Drew McIntyre CM Punk stuff, because they're doing enough stuff where they're reminding you of it, and they're also taking advantage of it and using it to further the storyline. It's smart booking. It's also good business idea.
Go ahead. I don't want to if I don't want to steal your thunder because I got something else.
Nope.
Go ahead. If you're done, Connor, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, with this, it's as long as she gets the fuck away from Judgment Day, so they can build her back up to what she was before then. And frankly, them trying to push Liv Morgan, they're not going to get far with her. I'm sorry, she's not good enough.
I think I know why they're doing what they're doing.
Why?
Are you done?
Yeah.
So I think that they're just putting Liv in this story because Liv is. I hate to say this. It's for the kids, for the casual fans.
She's this generation's Jimmy Valiant.
They're the ones.
Yes, true.
The casuals are the ones that want to see Liv Morgan all the time, right? People just, because she's gorgeous or whatever. She's a very pretty girl, right? That's why. I hate to say that, but they do honestly believe. And so she's that social media outreach of those stans people to keep them involved in wrestling. And that's why they're doing what they're doing with Liv. So that they will stay involved. When is Rhea going to come back? When is Liv going to beat up on Rhea again? You get what I'm saying, right? So they're keeping that storyline. I don't think Rhea's going to go away. I think she's going to be around. But there's going to come to a point where it's going to come to a head that they have to break up the Judgment Day.
I think Rhea's going to be, if Rhea keeps the same gimmick she has now, right? Which let's face it, everyone's thirsting over mommy on social media, and that's but anyway, that's kind of one of the reasons why that she's gotten so massively popular among other reasons. But no, she obviously earns it as well too. But my point is that to your points, she does need to get the hell out of Judgment Day because she, in my opinion, has outgrown it.
Yes.
She can stand completely on her own without the influence of the Judgment Day whatsoever. And I'll be honest, I thought Judgment Day would have been broken up by now at this point, to be totally honest with you. But hey, them's the breaks. But so again, this injury is another opportunity for, like you said, when she comes back, it's almost a clean slate. You can tell any story you want, or hell, you can do it where it's like she comes back, takes out Liv or whoever, and then the Judgment Day goes to, like, high five her, and she just walks right past them.
Right.
So creatively, there's a lot of opportunity. But speaking of creatively, unless there was other points about Rhea, there was one other thing on Raw that happened.
Yeah, nothing really of importance.
Sheamus returned.
Sheamus did return. Everybody's complaining about his fucking weight, and I'm like, oh my god, man.
He had a neck injury. He could not work out.
Yeah, people are like, he got fat. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? I wish I fucking looked like he did. Yeah, there's people. I mean, I'm talking about social media people. Like, he doesn't need I'm like, what are you talking about?
Look, first off, the guy's still in better shape than my fat ass will ever be. Right. So, hey, them's the breaks. And yeah, to your point, like, hell, he apparently said he was almost like, there's a possibility he was going to retire because of some neck issues that he was having. Nothing, career threatening, but just kind of like he's like, he didn't want to pursue the path anymore. But, that was the other part of it. The other part of it I was going to say was everyone's favorite L Bag. He finally turned.
He finally flipped the switch.
Yes.
To the dark side.
Yes. I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And remember when I had you guys watch Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes?
Yep.
Same fucking thing. That crowd was buying in. They knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. And then when it didn't, they were getting ready to go off the fucking air.
I'm not. Yeah, it was. There's a lot.
Really good. The way they ended that shit was so good. They left it open. What's going to happen next week?
Yep. You never know.
Storytelling.
I'll be honest with you. When on paper, I thought this is what was going to happen at Mania. I thought Sammy was going to beat Gunter, and then Chad Gable would do this exact same thing at WrestleMania. So I'm not disappointed. I kind of think we all kind of saw this coming down the pipeline, either immediately or a little bit further down the road. But yeah, there's a lot of turbulence here.
Yep, I like what they're doing.
Also, the visual of him giving the ankle lock while he's like on the apron in front of his wife, like fucking great. And
Yes.
he literally pulled him out of his wife's arms.
So you know how those 3 hours used to be 3 like long
Drawn out hours.
Nope.
So
Nope, they're fluid now.
it's still too long. I'm not gonna. And this is the again WWE. The only reason they have that extra hour is ad revenue. But what they have done is they have done more storytelling early and had more wrestling late. That's what I have noticed.
Which makes sense.
I think
Yeah,
Triple H, like, I mean, yes, there's the little backstage. They do a lot of backstage stuff again instead of having it out in the middle of the ring. You know what I'm saying? How they used to do it.
I've noticed that there's a lot more, and this is again we're all sucking Triple H's dick, so fuck it. But another thing creatively that I've noticed is that basically, things are relative. And this is again this is something that I wholeheartedly believe in as far as like the way I think wrestling should be booked is that things should be fluid and simple. Easy to follow. You can literally jump in at any point in time and understand what the hell is going on. There are shows that have been around, like maybe this is a bad example, but like Doctor Who or like other franchises where there are these massive franchises where some people have trouble like jumping in because you have to know so much shit and all this craziness and blah blah blah. Animes are the same way.
Far and watch so
yeah,
much.
it's fucking nuts. But some of the best ones like Breaking Bad, you can kind of grasp the situations by jumping in certain points and kind of filling in the blanks as you go along. And that's the best way I think to book wrestling is because again, with the threat of and looming injuries and anything could happen, and you have to our favorite word of the month, folks, pivot and change up your plans. And also just the simplicity sake of just being able to understand, okay, that guy's bad, that guy's good, let's move on and boom. They're doing that. Things make sense. Things have meaning behind them. It's simplistic and easy to understand of like, hey, these guys are wrestling for whatever reason, whether it be revenge or this or notoriety or more wins or a title or blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh my God, shit actually makes fucking sense.
It does. Excuse me. Did you know that WWE put a show out on YouTube about the build to WrestleMania 40?
Yes, you know what? I didn't watch it yet, but I
watched it.
No, I want to.
I am intrigued. We've had these. It was an actual pivot. You know what I mean? They actually, whatever. Whether or not they were gonna do this, my whole thing is I think they were gonna do this the whole time, just the way they did it.
Mm-mm.
But the way that we had WrestleMania about 80% written
by October.
Oh, that is music to my ears.
And then it was like, then the pivot happened. And I think he literally uses the word pivot, but I don't know if he's saying pivot or they actually pivoted. That's the questions that are going to be answered in that video. I keep forgetting to watch it because she mentioned it. Because I want to know.
Well, they advertised it during WrestleMania, and I sat there. Oh, it's going to be on YouTube, so it's literally accessible to every single person on the planet.
I'm looking for it now. I thought it was on. Yeah, I thought they were. I saw them advertising it beforehand.
I thought it was going to be on the WWE channel or yeah.
I'm looking for it now and see if I can find it. But
they have done a really good job of storytelling. Their matches are telling me a story.
Well, it's the matches plus like it's just like I said, like the fact.
Yeah, it's just a combination of everything. It's again, it's not perfect, but nothing ever is. But it's way better than way better than what it
last
was.
10 years.
I did see the Paul Heyman vlog, which was really another fun one. Again, I'm a big Paul Heyman mark, so always fun to see that. And it was interesting to see Triple H get a little choked up giving Heyman the awards and everything, because I thought they didn't like each other for the longest of times, and maybe they still don't. I don't know. Maybe they're just putting on a facade. But either way, great to see the respect and admiration for the wise man.
Right. But I found it to be a really good show. Mm-hmm. Raw isn't it's still a long 3 hours, but it's nowhere near what
it's not as painful of a 3 hours.
And I'm not just saying, oh, it's Raw. I can kind of just follow it. I'm actually intrigued, so I actually have both baseball and Raw on whenever possible. I never did that. I would flip back and forth. Because if I seen something, I'm like, oh, it's just another quick match. I'm gonna go watch a Brewer game. I mean, I'll follow it, but now I want to keep track of both, and that's great. I love it. I love it. I love wrestling. I've been watching since I was 7. I'm 51 now. Almost 45 years. I've been watching.
Damn.
Wrestling.
By the way, I just found, I went to go find the documentary that you're talking about. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't put it up yet. And it says official trailer. And this was released on April 7th saying, the video's coming this Wednesday, which that would have been, let's see, the 10th. It is now almost it is essentially the 21st or almost the 21st. And literally the comment section is littered with some wonderful comments that say, this is the John Cena of documentaries. We can't see it. Went from finish the story to finish the documentary, finish the documentary. So Cody can finish his story, but y'all can't finish the doc. The Rock hasn't worked a full match in roughly 11 years, and yet he nailed it at night 1 main event and gave a hell of a performance. The great one for a reason. This is good. Report from PW Insider: due to the sheer amount of footage of the company shot over the course of the weekend, they are still assembling the film.
Wow, that's crazy.
Welcome to the new era of the WWE.
I think they decided against it, and I'm okay with it because that
better be 4 hours if it's taking this long.
But that makes you want to do research on it. You know what I mean? It makes you care. Like, I would love to know what the mindset was.
Is WWE's Wednesday not the same as our Wednesday?
I mean, look, like I said, they do some things. They might have done it on purpose. I don't know. Whatever, it is what it is. But that trailer, they must have been trolling us. They're doing a troll job, and that's great. It's great, don't you think?
Oh, that PW Insider thing, I thought was just full of shit. That's actually the legit reason why they haven't done it yet.
Oh shit!
The word making the rounds is
that they shot over that entire weekend that they're still sorting through it.
Oh, and that's fine. So they just okay, we need to.
Yeah, holy shit, that's fucking crazy.
Okay, well, there's your answer. I'm actually looking forward to it though. If it ever debuts, I do want to know what the fuck. This just blows my mind, But yeah, so NXT. That's gonna do numbers for WWE's YouTube channel. It's gonna do fucking crazy numbers. People are gonna be popping on there every day. When's this fucking thing gonna debut? NXT was pretty alright. Dijak is starting to get over.
Good.
There, and I'm happy for him. This Lola Vice, I don't see it. I don't get it. I know that she can I know she's an MMA fighter, but then she fucking kicks somebody's ass and then fucking does the hip hop with her fucking, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. She wiggles her fucking ass. I'm like, what? You just fucking destroyed somebody in the middle of the fucking ring, and now you're gonna fucking jiggle your ass? Like, I don't get it. I don't get what they see in her. I know she's athletic, but her gimmick is so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. It's. Yeah, I don't know. And then you got the did you hear Dave Meltzer said about fucking Trick Williams?
What?
He said he's not very good. What?
Right.
this motherfucker, and then Tatum Paxley. She's what everybody in wrestling wants. That's what everybody wants in wrestling. What does she look? What do you call her? The Tatum Paxley. Scroll back.
Hold on, gotta scroll.
Yeah, this girl right here. She wears the eye black. I mean, she wears deep eye black. It's like the kid that got picked on in school, and she just went.
The depressed emo.
Is that what she is?
I don't know. I didn't see her, so.
She's
either goth or she's emo attempting to.
So Tatum Paxley, if you have not watched her, she is right now. She was involved with Lyra Valkyria and all of them, and then so they're doing a storyline with her, and she is playing the crazier version of Mickey James.
All right.
I like it. She's doing really good with it, but there's people shitting on her because she can't wrestle. I'm like, well, okay. If she hasn't wrestled very much, these people are like, I can't even remember what they said, but it's like these people aren't very good. Well, they're fucking NXT, you dumbass. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, y'all act, and I get why people say that, NXT, whatever, I can't even think of the word, but SmackDown and Raw, and then they have NXT. NXT should, right now, until they build up the stars, like Ilya Dragunov, they get worldwide known to the audience in the United States. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. To Gallus, you're going to see NXT expand. We've talked about this, and WWE is going to be like the fucking territories. And you're going to see the world champion all over the fucking world. We'll get to that motherfucking issue here in a little minute, too. But NXT's doing really good. They're doing way better. Ilya Dragunov is good.
What I'm liking, or they're hinting at, because I did see some clips from NXT recently, is it seems that they're hinting, or at the very least implying, the fact that during the draft coming up in the next week or so, that there's an opportunity for people who are on Raw and SmackDown to get drafted to NXT.
That's true.
And I love everything about that, because what that does is it's a win for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So here's the problem that I have. Here's the only problem, and I get what you're saying, and I did not mean to interrupt you, but the only problem I have with it is you're going to see, I'm just throwing this out there as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Raw drafts Roman Reigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown drafts Seth Rollins because they're two top stars. NXT, if they don't take a top star, why are they in this draft? We're gonna take Liv Morgan, even though she is one of their top stars. Well, let's say Liv Morgan has only been on the main roster for like 6 months, and she ain't cutting it, and we'll take her. Like, that's not really what you want.
To be fair, I don't believe that's what they're going to be doing. I think it's either going to be it's between, if they're doing the whole thing where they're just redrafting the brands completely from scratch, which, to be very honest with you, I fucking hate that idea. But anyway, if they do it that way, I think the way they'll incorporate NXT is the idea of Raw and SmackDown are the only ones that actually do drafts, but NXT is a eligible pool of talent that you can draft from, or it's just going to be the lottery where it's just we're shaking it up and we're just switching people around. I think it's going to be one of those two situations, because, to your point, I do agree with you on that. It would make no sense if you were doing it the way they've done it the last couple of ones, where it's like clean slate, these brands are starting over from scratch. Then you're right. It would be dumb if NXT didn't draft like Drew McIntyre or CM Punk. Right.
Carmelo Hayes. Like, we'll take him.
What I think is going to happen is I think it's going to be, the lottery basically, where it's going to be randomized.
Well,
And I only also and there's two. Well, yeah. Air quotes. But I also think the main reason for that is because remember they just signed Braun Breaker and Jade Cargill to SmackDown. So I would think that they would want to try to protect that being the big deal that they fucking treated it to be. But who knows? Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Personally, I think Jade Cargill should go to NXT. That's
Agreed.
just me, but we'll see what happens.
I think they might still do it, but we'll see.
Although, you know what though, I will say this much, and I know we're skipping it. I'm dipping my toe into SmackDown real quick. I think that if they keep her on SmackDown and if they keep things the way they're somewhat going, I think her teaming with Bianca Belair is a stroke of genius.
We'll get there. Go ahead. AOP showed up. They wrestled. Whatever their fucking names are. Ivar defeated Josh Briggs. And then Trick Williams defeated Carmelo Hayes in a steel cage match. Now, next week, Ilya Dragunov is facing Trick Williams for the NXT Championship.
Oh, shit.
At Spring Break-In. So, either one of two things is going to happen.
Uh-huh.
I think they're going to do it where this is just one way, and I hope this isn't the right. Well, Ilya Dragunov needs to get to the main roster.
Agreed. I think he's going to go to Raw.
He is, because that's where he showed up at. I think he fits Raw perfectly, but I think he would or is getting beat on Tuesday, and they're bringing him up to the main roster. Now, the draft is the very next week. So they may have him hold on to the title, and then they may, because I don't know when their next pay-per-view is, but then once he gets drafted, they may just have him, you got to relinquish the title.
They might have him pull double duty for a brief moment in time too, like where they get him
at the next pay-per-view. At the next PLE for that's where he'll drop it.
Because I know they're doing Spring Break-In is coming up, and then
they'll probably do something with Money in the Bank.
Backlash is the next one on May 4th. So the draft is 2 nights. It starts on SmackDown the 26th this Friday, and then ends on Raw the 29th, which is the go home Raw for Backlash. So there's a couple ways they can pull it off, but I mean, I would probably assume if Ilya Dragunov loses the NXT Championship, then it's pretty much for certain, almost 1,000% confirmed he's going to go up to one of the two brands. I'm presuming Raw because I've also heard Carmelo Hayes is going to SmackDown, but things could change at the drop of a dime.
No. SmackDown started off with a banger. I didn't get to watch the whole thing because I was actually coming back from
getting
my phone fixed. AJ Styles defeated LA Knight. Remember what I said? The 1-1. There's going to be a big blow off between them two at SummerSlam. I think
that could happen. And you know what? I think kind of everybody pretty much assumed that AJ was going to be the one to challenge Cody for the belt at Backlash.
I think they're giving him his flowers.
Which is fine. I think what this also is going to do is, not that I think that people were shitting on him for this reason, but I think that this is going to show or remind people how good of an in-ring competitor Cody and, to his extent, too, AJ are in the ring. I think they're going to put on a very, very good match for the title.
And I was just going to say this. For some people, this match has not happened. For some, it is a dream match. This is how you build a dream match. You have something for said dream match. You know what I mean? There's a reason for the dream match. You can't just throw two guys together and then tell me, Kazuchika Okada is wrestling Kenny Omega again. Okay. For what? And why? Give me a reason to give a shit as to why these two are fighting. Don't just say, hey, we're going to do this match. I might check out the match, but I'm not going to... I might check that match out, but I'm not going to stay tuned to what the fuck you have to say to me. This is where... we'll get to it. Well, this is where I'm going to do the AEW thing real quick. That's part of the problem with AEW. We're going to give you this match.
Well,
that's great. I'll come and watch that match, but I'm going to turn the channel right after it. I don't understand why it is so hard to actually build a reason for two wrestlers to have a match. This is the part of the problem with AEW. I don't hate the match that they're giving me. I just hate the fact that people bitched about this with WWE for years. I being one of them, because I want to give a shit as to why somebody's fighting. Like, the motherfucker...
I had a long diatribe about this, but go ahead.
Yeah. A motherfucker could be the number one contender for the world title. That doesn't mean he should just focus... they shouldn't just focus on the one feud. Sometimes they do a very good job, and like Stone Cold, when he was up for being the world champion, he was in feuds with other fucking people.
So I'm going to try and once again say this point, and hopefully I can actually remember where my point is. So just make sure. Here we go again, folks. Let's try this again. So funny enough, I think one thing that obviously a lot of us hardcore fans and diehard fans complain about sometimes is the booking of the way things are booked in pro wrestling, right? We critique, we criticize because we love it so much, and we know that things can be done better, and et cetera and so forth. Vince, towards the end of his run in the company, right, was basically, this is before the TKO merger, or the merger in TKO. He was trying to be the biggest form of entertainment, period. Right. Like above everything and anything else, right? And that's kind of what the problem was, that he didn't see it as professional wrestling anymore. He saw it as sports entertainment, and then just fucking entertainment. And so because of that, things got pigeonholed, turned around, and decisions were made. They were like, that makes no fucking sense, other than the idea of, fucking Vince doesn't know what a burrito is, or whatever the fuck. But the point I'm making is that, like, with the switch over into this new era, you not only have the TKO backing and then Triple H, at the helm, and I say this in the best way possible, WWE knows and embracing what it is. One thing that I don't think I said this because when we did our WrestleMania review, or if I did, I was way too stoned, which shock of all shocks. But the one thing that I absolutely loved the most out of everything in WrestleMania, honest to God, right? Out of all the matches, the moments, the crazy pops, the insanity, was Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on commentary at the end saying, "This is wrestling."
Yes.
And I love pro wrestling. And that, I'm not going to lie, got me choked up, because I'm like, God damn it, yes, it's back. And it felt so good that it was embraced again.
The one thing, and apparently this happened to AEW, they got Nyla Rose. Oklahoma has said, if you have her wrestle women, we will shut you down.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
You cannot come to Oklahoma if you're going to have Nyla Rose wrestle women, because and that's the athletic commission.
I was wondering when this was going to happen.
I've been saying it for a while. This is why, again, heed my words, people. I'm not shitting on them for wanting to give us good wrestling. I get all of that. Where I fault them is for not telling people what they really fucking are. You can't do half the shit you're fucking doing. If you have an athletic commission telling you not to do it, there's probably a reason for it. You just won't wrestle. You just won't have. If you don't call it sports entertainment, and I don't mind calling it pro wrestling because that's what it is. It's entertainment with wrestling is what it is. But it's wrestling. But if you label it as sports entertainment, they can't tell you not to fucking do it.
No, and I get, like, you know, again, this is just what my point is that, like, when Vince was trying to be bigger than what wrestling really is, and, you know, it's just like anything else. It's like there's great business acumen in terms of, like, and it's great to have the drive, ambition to be like the biggest thing you possibly can, and it's great to have that ambition and drive. But at some point, especially in business, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, well, like, how, you know, let's, like, we're a little too big for our britches here. It's one of the reasons ECW crashed.
Yes.
It grew too big too fast, and it tried to kind of, you know, we're going to compete with them, and staying, instead of staying its regional self. But yeah,
I mean, look, if Nyla Rose wants to wrestle as a woman, I don't care. Just as long as I'm not anywhere around it, I'm okay with it. Now, if it was my daughter, I don't know how I would feel. So, again, we got to keep in mind that the problem with AEW is they say they're the safest place to work, but I see a lot more dumb shit with them and being unsafe than what WWE does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they do it on purpose, but they
try going balls to the walls every week.
They're trying to. It blows my mind. Just do you. Don't try to, but don't do it in a safe way. Jumping off a ladder through plated glass is not. You're not going to last long. And if you do, you're going to look like fucking Mick Foley at some point. And am I wrong? Mick Foley can barely walk anymore because of what he put himself through. That Hell in a Cell fucking match fucked him up
permanently.
Now, was it a fucking great moment? I'll tell you this. It was a fucking moment. I didn't like it because I don't like that in my wrestling. I don't. I don't like it when I don't.
I wasn't laughing at that. I was just laughing at the way you worded that.
I'm trying to. So it annoys me how people get mad at you and call you a boomer when the next thing you know, Edge has to retire early because he's doing all of this shit that he doesn't really need to do. Because it happened. It happens.
Yes.
Injuries happen. But, and he was there during the Attitude Era when it started transitioning. Like, so he put his body through hell. Stone Cold Steve Austin put his body through hell. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. These guys took more chair shots than... I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have CTE problems down the road. I
mean, you know better than I do because you're the football guy. Look at the change in terms of the focus on the health of the athletes from a perspective of, like, head trauma and injuries and just in general. It's definitely created a change in terms of the culture, the dynamic. I mean, obviously the 80s were a little bit different because the 80s weren't as wild and extreme, but the 90s pushed that to the brim with the Monday Night Wars. And so it's all catching up culturally, and now it's at a point where it's like, okay, now things are taken extremely seriously, and we're not, you know, we're trying to ensure the longevity of our people and our athletes. Which, again, another big kudos to Triple H is that, hey, you want time off with your kids and your family, please take off time for your kids and your family, and they actually try to make that fucking work. So great.
Yeah, but AEW, they just have to just grow up.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
The pay-per-view AEW Dynasty just ended,
Yeah,
and
give me
the
the results. I kind of been following them. Did you have do you have them?
well, the big one is the main event.
Well, okay,
I'll get it. I just needed to finish.
Oh, no, I didn't want to view it, and I wasn't sure if you want me to spoil it or not. But
I don't care.
Yeah.
all right then.
It's AEW.
So Swerve Strickland is now the new AEW
They were
World
gonna
Champion.
Pull the trigger on that. The way they were going with the story.
Yep, he beat Samoa Joseph.
He was getting over, but I don't care. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he's all right. He can wrestle, but
Now we're waiting for the post-media scrub.
No thanks.
I
wonder if anyone's going to ask him about the CM Punk footage.
So Swerve's worked his ass off. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But
Apparently, Jack Perry showed up.
who cares? I knew they were gonna do it. Oh, that's another match. What about that match?
What, the tag?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bucks are the champs.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
It's really fucking obvious.
Jack Perry interfered on their behalf and helped them win.
He did.
Right, so they're leaning into it, which
So
is interesting.
Do you see why they did what they did?
Yeah, I got it. Mr. Ospreay, I believe, beat Mr. Danielson, which if that's fine. Let me see if I can pull up the actual full card here. Dynasty results. Yes. Okay, I'm really high. Let's do this. All
Trying to get there,
right.
but it's not kicking in yet.
All right. Let's see. Okada. Whoop, come on, you stupid ad. Okada beat Pac
Of course.
to retain the Continental title. The House of Black defeated Eddie Kingston, Adam Copeland, and Mark Briscoe. That's a team. Okay.
Sure.
Willow. Oh yeah, I did see this. Willow Nightingale defeated Julia Hart for the AEW TBS title, and then she was confronted by Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, she was gonna hit her with the chair on fucking Wednesday. I'm like, well, just fucking do it. And
Roger.
Then Edge got in the way and she dropped the chair. She's like, I'm just being civil. Yeah, you're being civil. I would have drop kicked her.
Anyway.
Roderick Strong defeated Kyle O'Reilly for the International Championship. I do believe Adam Cole is back. I don't know if he's completely healed from the ankle, but he's not wearing crutches or on a wheelchair or anything anymore.
I think Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, that's going to be the first match. That's going to be the next build.
Chris Jericho defeated Hook to become the new FTW champion. Why, for the love of God? I don't. Okay. Tony Storm defeated Thunder Rosa to retain the AEW World Women's Championship.
Why?
And then the last three I just mentioned: Ospreay beat Bryan Danielson. The Bucks won the AEW tag titles, and Swerve Strickland is the new AEW World Champion.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
SmackDown.
I knew pretty much everything that was going on there. The only thing that's unresolved, and I'm surprised that they didn't do anything with it, was the Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta.
No time. We gotta fit another ridiculous shit.
You know.
Oh my god!
Ridiculous
That's
shit.
going to be the big build to next year. Everybody was thinking MJF was going to show back up. I think MJF is really, really, really hurt right now.
I know that when they were up here in Boston recently, that he met with people backstage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anything was struck or what the deal was, but honestly, at this point, with the success that Cody and Jade are fucking having, I kind of hope he didn't re-sign. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hope he goes to WWE.
I don't know if he is. I think they're just.
I think he's staying. I think he's staying, but I kind of wish he would go to WWE now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. But anywho, SmackDown. SmackDown had some things. We talked about Aj and LaKnight.
It was a pretty good match, man. It was a really good match. I do like how the finish happened, though. Go ahead.
New WWE tag team titles.
Yep. Again, I don't like them I do not like them as much as the ones on Raw.
Sorry, I have a stiffy for these belts. These
I
are
don't.
these are one of my
so,
favorites.
Here's why: there's no color in the title.
I know, I know, and you know what? I will give you that point. I will give you that point, but
I don't
still don't
hate
care.
them. I don't hate them.
Nope, I can feel my heart. I can feel my heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't. I don't hate them. I actually like them. I just wish they had more color in them.
Yeah, I get that. It's funny that
I do like. Sorry, and I do like the distinction between the titles. They don't name them the Raw title, the SmackDown. I don't mean I didn't mind it.
Thank
I
God.
didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't care. I really didn't. So the reason that I don't mind it is because they were trying to make the brand feel like a territory. They realized it wasn't working. They went away from it. Like I said, it's sooner or later on down the road, it's gonna become one of those things, because the top title in each promotion was the name, except for the Mid-South, wasn't called the Mid-South Heavyweight Championship. It was called the Southern Heavyweight Championship. I think that's what it was called.
I think so.
you're right. Cody, what up?
No, the North American Heavyweight Championship. I apologize. Go ahead.
What's up? Cody says in the chat, reminds me of the old tag team title belts SmackDown used to have. Those are actually one of my favorite designs of them.
That's
so
exactly what they are.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of the last two, like the blue and gold ones, and then the old school.
We talked about that. If you weren't here, we talked about the lineage of the belts. So there's something in each belt. Even though the World Heavyweight Championship doesn't have any lineage, there is lineage there.
Yeah.
You just have to look at it.
Same with the WWE tag team titles.
Correct. There's something from WWE's past that is in each belt.
Indeed. And then really the only other major thing from SmackDown is, two other notes really. The Bloodline storyline. So is Solo? What the hell's going on?
So I personally think that Rock is behind the whole spiel, and this is how. And there was chance for "We Want Roman" during this segment, and I'm like,
that didn't take long.
They are turning him babyface without him fucking being there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the fucking pop when Roman Reigns comes back? Remember when I said they're getting ready to... Roman don't need the fucking title, people. And it's okay. He's done so much for the company. Give the guy a fucking break. Let him have his fun now. Let him do his thing. And I guarantee you will be satisfied in the end. All the Roman Reigns fans that got shit on at WrestleMania, you will get your fucking moment. And it won't be a title, but it's going to be everybody fucking loves Roman Reigns. That's all these people want. Go ahead.
One thing that was really interesting was I saw a very brief interview from Paul Heyman. It was probably, I'm sure, in a slew of different interviews that he did throughout the WrestleMania weekend, but I hadn't seen this one. But the clip that I saw was very, very profound. It was really an eye-opening one. And he said that, he basically kind of recapped the story of Roman Reigns being pushed to the top. He goes, because he was being portrayed as an inauthentic version of himself that the company thought they wanted. So he goes, then COVID happened and we had no audience. He goes, now usually the audience can be a deciding factor of, whether or not, how something can be done. And he goes, and Roman being smart enough realized that, hey, nothing's worked so far at this point. Nothing's going to be over. Let me be the real me. And let's flip the script and take it in, and let's see what advantages we can take care of with the Thunderdome. And then just got the ball rolling with everything else from there. And then it just snowballed from there. Then he pulled in Jimmy and everybody else and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and it was just a natural extension of who he really is as a person. And you know what? I think that's a big reason why Roman's also so fucking over is because we could all fucking tell by suffering succotash how forced certain things were on Roman. And so, and one thing that like a lot of wrestling fans get like fucking slack sometimes for is like, man, you guys hate this so much. It's like, no, it's not the fact that we hate the individual. We don't hate the person necessarily. What we hate is the way they're being portrayed correct. Yeah. It's just like, oh, this guy is poorly written. This guy's a shit stain. This guy's stupid. This is a bad, whatever. And so when Roman came back and did this, man, people like it fucking took off, and we're going on 4 years. 4 years of the Bloodline story. Yeah. Like, it just, man, it's getting so fucking good.
Yep, it is. It is getting really good. The Bloodline story is taking off. I'm liking where wrestling is going. Naomi and Bayley wrestled, and I told everybody's like, oh my god, Tiffany Stratton's getting buried. Dude, she's 24. And she's going to get involved in this feud. That's going to be Bayley's first feud. Is going to be Tiffany Stratton. We're going to see if Tiffany Stratton can do it. If Tiffany Stratton can work with Bayley, and I'm talking about they're going to give her shot. She's going to lose. They're doing something with Tiffany Stratton.
I mean, it's great.
It is.
I like her a lot, and that's why we drafted her over to SmackDown. The A brand on HGGM mode, season 3. Check it out. Check your local listings.
She is really good, and Tiffany Stratton, at some point in her career, is going to become the face of the women's division.
I agree. I think she's going to be a major player. And I think we talked about this no, I think I talked about this with somebody else. Or maybe it was us too. Maybe it was a combination. I don't know. I'm way into space right now. One smart thing that I've noticed WWE also do, and again, this is once again kissing the ass of the company, and again the booking and the writing, but Cody is obviously the man, the guy, the main center plate of the company. There is no question about that, which is totally fine. I'm all on board. Mm-hmm. However, if you notice on each brand, they are starting to slowly, maybe a little bit more so now than in like a year or two before. There's a lot of like main event level stars on each brand that are starting to emerge, and they're getting really, really close to being types where it's like it is getting to be another Ruthless Aggression era where you have 4 to 5 big key players on each brand where at any point in time, you could have them be involved. And again, they did this during the Attitude Era. You had your big 6 in the Austin or Rock were, depending on the time frame, were the guy or the man. But there you had also Triple H, you had Big Show, you had Mankind, you had Undertaker, you had other key players that you could rotate around in the championship and still have some really good stories.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's happening again, and it's making me excited. Like, again, and I'll say this, I've said this once, I'll say this 1,000 fucking times. I am genuinely shocked and well impressed at how over Jey Uso got on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've said it numerous amounts of times. When it comes down to the Usos, it's just like every other tag team in all of history. There's always that one member who is just slightly better than the other.
Jimmy's really good, but he's not as good as Jay. It's not that Jimmy can't wrestle. He's just not as good as his brother is. He's good, but he's not as good as Jay.
Yep. But then the only really thing can't talk. See, tick tock, is the draft. So, the draft is going to be taking place over the course of one SmackDown and one Raw. So it's going to be this coming SmackDown on April the 26th. And then a week from today, the Raw on the 29th of April will be the conclusion of it. I'm very glad they're doing this because now we're going to see Triple H essentially set the board. Get ready for his big year, and man, this year is going to be some good shit.
You know what's going on this week, right?
What?
As well.
Oh,
The
is it like
NFL
the
draft.
draft?
The
Yeah,
NFL
I
draft.
also heard that they were trying to take advantage of the search engine. Yeah.
And why not?
Yeah, no, it's smart.
I'm not going to say. I mean, I'll probably watch SmackDown. I'm not going to watch. I watched night one, and then I follow. Because night really the first round is all anybody cares about. But I watched enough college football to know who should go. And well, not every player.
Well,
But
yeah, well,
I'm
it's
talking about those first four fucking round. Excuse me, the first four rounds of guys.
yeah.
Those are the people that you really have to pay attention to. That's who I pay attention to.
So I am curious how this is going to go as far as the specific rules, because they haven't really explored a lot of details as far as what to expect. Yeah, I mean, we have obviously assumptions. We know kind of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping tonight or this Monday night on Raw they kind of maybe flush out some more details. I really, really hope.
I think they will. They're getting there. They're working it.
One thing I will genuinely predict, and this is just obviously a generality, but I would not be surprised if Raw made out better with more star power on that show.
Well, yeah, because they're going to Netflix.
Exactly.
I
I was
think
say,
that's what's going to happen. Raw's going to get the powerhouse people.
yeah, which is fine because
But
a couple of
they're not. It's not going to be so heavily weighted that oh my god, why even watch SmackDown anymore?
No. I don't mean
Right.
that, but I just think that like if you were going to look at it, it might be like a 60-40 situation where Raw gets a little bit more,
They'll
star
get a
power.
little- I think they're we'll see what Triple H does. You never know. I
Yeah.
50-50 on it.
Well, again, I think because of the 3 hours and going to Netflix, I mean, again, a couple of years ago they did that. They flipped the script where SmackDown got a little bit more star power because they were going to Fox. So it all makes sense, and it's. But I just think that
really interesting as to what they're going to be able to fucking say and do on Netflix.
that is going to be an interesting little tidbit, and again, for me personally, I'm more interested of okay, we've got now. This is a lot of people are like, oh, WrestleMania 40. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, fine. This next week is really going to be the for me is going to be the big like, okay, this is the starting line, because now it's Triple H is not only in fully control, but now he's set the board the way he wants to. And we're looking for the next year ahead going into WrestleMania 41, which presumably in Vegas. I'm all for that. It's going to be interesting, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen, especially with like the next wave of NXT call-ups and stuff. So exciting times, mon frere. Exciting time.
These nuts.
So yeah,
Got him.
I agree 100%. I think wrestling is on the upswing. I'm 51 years old, and I'm excited to watch wrestling. There's something to be said about that, because I could be doing other things. Wendy's
Wendy's excited about wrestling now, and she
goes,
wasn't before.
What's on TV tomorrow? And she said something. I can't remember.
What comes on tomorrow?
Yeah, what comes on tomorrow? And I'm like, I think Heather goes, well, Cody comes on tomorrow. When Cody won the title, because I got fucking excited and I yelled, because she doesn't I think she has
sensitive hearing.
Hearing. So I'm like, she thought I was mad because I usually yell or whatever, and I'm mad at something. Not at her usually. I mean, I have yelled, but
What do you? I don't believe you.
she's like, Dad, can I watch Cody with you? I'm like, absolutely. She gets right up in my lap, sits down and watches Raw with me until she has to go to bed.
So obviously, my son has followed in my idiotic footsteps and has followed what I also like to enjoy. And I never want to force the kids into anything that I enjoy, but if they're genuinely interested, they'll check it out. And so now my daughter's also doing the same thing, where she's like, oh, can we watch the Cody? Can we watch the WWE? Can we play WWE? Can we do this? And I've taken my son to, a couple of, his birthday, his last birthday, I took him to SmackDown, and man, what a treat that was, and just what a good time it was. it's just good. It's just good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it is. Now we have. I wish that they'd come back around here.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. You know, it's funny. They're not only trying, you know, we've obviously talked about the positivities of them trying these new international markets, which is really fun. And I can't wait to see how Backlash is going to come across. I can't wait for Clash of the Castle. Bash at Berlin, I think, is going to be awesome.
They've come to Dubuque, but I'm like having a Raw. They were live shows. I'm like talking like having a Raw and a SmackDown. They used to do Monday Night Raw when I went to see Monday Night Raw. They had it at the Kohl Center. It seats 16,000 frickin' people.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So it's like, yeah. And if it was warm enough, you might see a SummerSlam at a Lambeau Field one of these days. I mean, a historic stadium. If they don't cash in on that fucking shit, I don't know what they're doing. They're gonna.
I mean, I'm kind of bummed because I don't think they're going to come to.
Nick Khan wants the WrestleManias to be more indoors. I think the outdoors.
Yeah, then we're fucked.
Should be SummerSlams. The summer pay-per-views, like SummerSlam, needs to be outside.
Yes.
As long
you know
as
what's funny?
Go ahead.
What I was going to say was, you know what? I honestly wouldn't mind if. I wouldn't, and this is maybe just me being like a little specific, but personally, I wouldn't mind if the East Coast got SummerSlam and the West Coast got WrestleMania.
So then it leaves the Midwest.
And they keep on that like.
Shit.
What's that? No. I mean, in terms of like following the weather cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in terms of like making sure that your WrestleMania is outside, you can hit like either the South or the West Coast, and then you can like sprinkle everything in between depending on the weather patterns and whatnot. That way you don't run the risk of like shit, you know, all that stuff. And I wouldn't mind it because would it be a bummer to never get a WrestleMania? I mean, but I mean SummerSlam shit. If you're gonna give it the same type of energy and attention, I'm all for it.
Yeah. So I think that wrestling is on the upswing. Like when I went to a Raw, it was a fun show. The only problem is I kind of enjoy listening to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. I really do.
Yeah. They
are fucking funny, man.
Yeah, they're good. I like Pat. I loved the Drew McIntyre bit from 2 weeks ago. It's like cut the damn music, and then you just hear him go former world champion.
Right. I still find Corey Graves is trying. I don't know if it's going to last very long. I like him and Wade Barrett together, but Corey Graves, I don't know, man. The jury's
I like him. Honestly, I like him.
I don't hate him, but what are they doing with him? Are they doing him just like Michael Cole, or are they doing two-color commentators on SmackDown?
I think they're trying to groom him to be a lead. I think that's what they're doing. I think he's got the color part down pat, no problem. He knows how to bring the personality and like some knowledge. I think they're tuning him to be
Michael Cole.
Essentially.
But then again, I wouldn't mind him doing that because he can actually, and I know Michael Cole knows wrestling moves and stuff, but you get what I'm saying. Corey Graves can actually speak on what the move does.
Yeah, no. I get you completely.
Saying? I'm not saying like Gorilla Monsoon. He kicked him in the solar plexus. But,
right. But I think that covers it, right? Was anything else in wrestling really to cover? I think we got everything.
Did I get everything newsworthy?
I think so.
We talked about all the major promotions. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying. I want to say that there was something out there, but
go Team SmackDown.
Yeah, that too. That too. I just want people to realize that. Oh,
you're all wrong.
The Cody Rhodes thing, like people wanting, like Cody. People are like, oh my God, Cody Rhodes wasn't. He hasn't wrestled on TV. They said they were going to have a working man's champion. Didn't say that fucking people don't fucking listen to anything anybody fucking says. They assume that Cody Rhodes is going to show up on every Raw and fucking SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, no, he's actually in fucking London. And I think everybody, he's not going to be on Raw again. Jesus Christ. It's probably because he's not coming back.
He's over there doing media and getting everything set up for Clash at the Castle and shit like that.
Probably on a fucking plane right now. Leave the guy the fuck alone.
He's a great fit. I mean, he is literally like he's a fucking promoter's wet dream in terms of what you want as like your champion.
We talked about it before about who we think is going to be the person to take Triple H's place when he is at his time.
And that's
I think that's what they are training Cody for.
Cody's going to be the guy.
Man, that's crazy, huh?
I think so.
I mean, he already has a grasp on the business side of it. They're literally just fine tuning what he experimented with over in AEW.
He's getting good at the storytelling part of it too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would say he's almost better than his dad at it.
Oh, I can say he's better than his dad.
I love Dusty.
Same.
I love Dusty's booking at times.
But he was a lot of hot shots.
He does a lot of hot shots, and he did the whole 2 long terms, and that's where Triple H gets it from. You can only go so far with it. Like
so,
we were talking. The only reason they did what they did at this last Starrcade was to build to another pay-per-view, which turns out to be the American Bash, and they just do a tour, the Great American Bash tour, and it lasted up until July. And Dusty finally beat Ric Flair in the middle of the ring without any... Well, Arn Anderson and them got involved, but it was a no DQ. And they had other people show up and keep them out of, the shenanigans, and they kept it to the middle of the ring, and he finally won it.
Yeah.
So as somebody who obsesses and so super overanalyzes and has read and listened to countless of shit regarding wrestling bookers and strategies and thought processes and stuff like that, because I have a life. But anyway,
I do too.
But I've gone so down the rabbit hole that Dusty is definitely a genius. Like there's like a Mount Rushmore of like wrestling geniuses in terms of the business as far as like, creatively and whatnot. And Dusty is without a doubt, he's up there. However, I will agree to your testament, JP, that I think Cody does it better. And the one thing I will say is this: so far, I mean, Dusty's again, creative genius, but after a certain point in time, you do start to notice signature. Hell, there's a thing called a Dusty finish.
Yeah, and what they did last night was a Dusty finish.
Right. So, which is fine, but like the idea is that like after a while, and it's going to be the same with everybody, where you start to imprint like certain things and mannerisms. Like obviously the bloodline, you can clearly tell that's got Paul Heyman's all over it, because the way they were able to split off and intersect other storylines and branch things off of one thing. It's literally what they did in ECW. So, but anyway, point is that like Cody is a little bit more, I don't want to say off the wall because it implies that he's like crazy, but a little bit more like we're going into different areas and storytelling and different styles that we don't think we've done yet or not for a long time.
Yeah,
or modernized.
Yeah,
I should
more
say.
modernized. Yes,
I think it's a modern take on what used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what wrestling is right now in WWE. AEW.
It's like fucking good.
Look,
fucking good.
I really want AEW to succeed. I really, 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 really do. Because if AEW is succeeding,
then we have competition.
We have wrestling. And you can go and watch it. Like, again, if Tony Khan says tonight on fucking TNT, Okada versus... I'll watch an Okada match, but lately his matches have been terrible. I'm starting to wonder if...
It's okay. Why don't you take us home, JP? Because my little one just woke up, so I have to go walk over her.
All right.
A quick
well,
right.
I'm gonna finish it off by saying I don't mind AEW doing their thing. do it. Show me a match, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stick around and watch it because you're not giving me compelling storylines, and that's all I want out of fucking wrestling. And until they start doing that, I'm not gonna review it. I'll watch it and I'll just tell you little tidbits. But if you listen to the conversation that we were having, and I'll end it here, and I'll let Heather get her final thoughts too. I think wrestling has really become a much better version of itself than it was 5 years ago. You're seeing wrestling that you wanted 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Everybody wanted this kind of wrestling from WWE. It couldn't have gotten there with AEW. AEW has lit a fire under WWE's ass. And I don't know if you've ever heard the term, during the battle at Pearl Harbor, or the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Japanese admiral said, once he initiated the go, he said, "We have just awakened a sleeping giant." And that's what AEW did. And I don't think it was going to change if Vince was there. But the only way that Vince was going to go, the only way they were going to get rid of Vince, and I don't think it, with what is going on, that added to it. I think they were going to kind of push him out the door anyway, because now TKO would say, "All right, look, man, we're not growing, your stock's falling, this, that, and the other thing. It's time for you to go. Let the booking go. Let Triple H do his thing. You can do," and that's what was gonna happen somewhere down the road. And it never got that far, but that's where I think Vince was ultimately going to be sitting at home watching TV anyway. Still kind of giving his input, which I'm pretty sure some storylines could still use it. The guy knows how to book. It's just it got really... He didn't know what else to do. He was stuck in his ways. Bruce Pritchard is a yes man. Very true. But Bruce Pritchard knows fucking wrestling. And for everybody shitting on him all the fucking time is unfucking necessary, in my opinion. Bruce Pritchard has been around the wrestling business a lot fucking longer. I think... Well, not as long as Vince, but about as long as Vince, because Vince wasn't... When did he meet his dad? When did he get involved in the wrestling business? So Bruce Pritchard's been around. Like, he's...
I wanted to say it was very late 80s, very early 90s.
No, he was involved because he was doing commentary back in the 70s. Vince was. But
No,
Bruce,
I thought you were talking about Bruce Pritchard.
Oh, Bruce Pritchard? No, he came in like the mid.
I think
early
when
80s.
when Endeavor bought WWE, one way or the other, Vince knew that this was the beginning of the end, and I don't mean in the sense of like like he was going to get in trouble or anything like that. Like he knew these like crazy things were going to happen. But I think that like even I would like to think he would be at least have smart enough business acumen to know that this is where he's going to like bow out. This stage at some point, one way or the other, he will be bowing out, whether it be, just he retires on his own, God forbid he croaked, or,
Yeah. That's
anything in between.
But, and I'll let you get your final thoughts. WWE is a juggernaut. You aren't going to stop it, especially if they keep doing what they're doing, because it'll make the product grow even more, and MMA will become even bigger, and then AEW won't have a channel to be on because every fucking channel in the fucking world's going to want the fucking MMA again.
Also, fuck, say something. Damn it. Nope, gone. Shit. Gone.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. I mean, you both said pretty much everything that needs to be said. I mean, at the end of the day, we're getting the wrestling that we have been sorely missing and wanting.
Heather's actually kind of watching it again.
Yeah. And even at the worst of times, I didn't take a break from WWE back in the day.
You don't say.
I just got so fed up with it.
You got fed up with the mind-numbing
Boringness.
boringness.
Oh, there's a bunch
And
of
the
reasons. I
absolute
stopped.
100% predictability.
Yep. But yeah, so that for me, I don't mean to talk over Heather. She's very knowledgeable. She talks to me all the time. Like, I get off on my fucking rants and she'll throw something in there and I'll be like, yeah, I know, I kind of agree with that. It's just one of those things. I should give her flowers. She needs some face time. I think she's really good, like, for the football show, but then I overpower that even.
Yeah.
I really like getting her thoughts. We don't get enough of hers, and I think
Agreed.
we do need. Guys, you think I talk about wrestling all the time? She's knowledgeable. She knows what she's talking about. So,
Which is why my women's division is always on fire.
So, well, we're back. So, we got you. But with that said, I think we pretty much talked about everything.
Yep.
I can't think of anything else that's really newsworthy except for what I want to talk about with the fucking Cody Rhodes thing. Cody Rhodes is fine as a champion. He'll be back. He'll probably be back on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, with that said, huh? Go ahead.
I was gonna say either that or they move Damien to SmackDown.
They could.
I was
Because
going to say, they might move Damien and have Cody on Raw because of Raw going to Netflix.
with the color of the belts, there's no color in the belts. I mean, though that title there, I don't mind it because it has, you can see some definition, and it looks different than the WWE Undisputed title, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So it's the distinction. They don't even look alike. And I know the SmackDown, I just like a little color in my tag team titles. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, I don't have anything.
No, I'm good.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping in. We'll talk to you next week. We're finding I'm finding my groove with this because I used to do live reactions. But I love talking wrestling, and that's just the way it is. We'll try to have other things with no bucks given to than wrestling. We just have to get into a groove with the wrestling where we can talk about it for about an hour or so and then move on to something for another hour.
All right, we got over an hour and a half out of this, and there wasn't even much to talk about.
No,
So,
that was just conversation.
yeah.
So, with that said, everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you next week, Wednesday, I'm thinking. And then we'll be back for some more Horny Goat GMO.
These nuts.
Yep, and these nuts.